Good evening. It's been a hot little minute, but welcome to the Black Feather and Ospreys Rugby Fancast. Now, we've had a little catch up before we've come on air to record this, and basically, just to explain our absence, we've had husbands with broken noses. No, I did not do it. We've had birthdays. We've had mental parents, mental siblings in my case. Rod has moved house, gone on various holidays. As I said to Mark, he's been out of the country more than Judy Chalmers lately. People of a certain age will know what I'm on about with that. Uh,
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Judith, yeah.
Mm.
So if you don't know who she is, that woman had a cracking tan in the 80s. She lived the best life ever. Ask your mum and dad. Um, and yeah, Rod's been on like 90 million stag do's across Europe, and he's going on holiday tomorrow. So it's just me and Mark.
It's like the episode that almost didn't happen, wasn't it? We almost had to write it off and say, okay, episode whatever number we're on, we'll just
Yeah,
scrap it and just go on to the next one.
pretty much. So it's been a while since we caught up, and a lot. I mean, no day is a quiet day in Welsh rugby, is it really? But a lot has happened since we last spoke.
Yeah.
First things first, we did the double against the Scarlets.
Hooray. What a
Yay!
I'm only just getting over the stress, to be honest. It was one of those games where I loved it after it had happened, but while the game was going on, I hated every second of it because it was just too stressful.
The people next to us made it stressful.
Well, they didn't help. They
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 were
didn't help, to be
assholes.
fair. They were.
Not
They
your
were.
mate though, who spoke you we
Yeah,
spoke to him with his
Carl's
gun.
Carl's lovely, but yeah, there
Carl
were
was
some
lash.
other people with him that weren't so
Other
great,
people were
and
standing by him. Um, Literally, they were like, "You've only got one song." Rod, quick as a shot, was like, "We're rugby fans, mate. We're not a choir."
yeah.
That absolutely tickled me.
I just
Um,
loved the end of the game though. I turned round at the end of the game and they were just all stood there in complete silence, looking completely stunned at how they'd lost the game. And I just said nothing. I just looked at them and just sort of thought,
you're
yeah,
better
there
than
we
I
go.
was because I went, "You're not fucking singing now, are you?" But I have to say, I've had a proud achievement this week.
Right?
I've been discussed on the Scarlet Fee message boards.
No way.
Yes, way.
Flipping heck.
Yeah,
Why? I mean, it can't be in a positive way, surely.
absolutely fucking not. Um, but um, I don't normally go on these things because I just think I got a WhatsApp group with my mates. I don't need to go online. But someone posted on Facebook that the Turks had gone into a bit of a meltdown over the PRA,
Yeah.
and they've been a bit aggy on Twitter the last couple of weeks because a couple of people have asked genuine questions like, guys, why are you signing the PRA? Like genuine questions, no jabs, no like having a go. It was like, why are you signed the PRA? Jesus Christ. I have not shot a puppy at Christmas. I'm asking a genuine question. Um, and I replied saying about it, they've got to go through due diligence and blah, blah, blah. Totally misconstrued that I've said that they've got no money. Now, I might have said that in private, but I'm not going to put that on Twitter.
You said it to
You
those
know,
Scarlet fans next to us and down at the
yeah.
Brewery field a
Um,
few times.
so apparently I'm peddling rubbish. Well, I'm not peddling rubbish. I'm
Hmm.
actually just saying what Steph Thomas said in the Wales Online article, which
Yeah,
is
true. I know.
you're still going through due diligence. I'm not lying. I haven't mentioned finances, due diligence. I do due diligence in my job,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, clearly the House of Del Boy aren't quite all they're made out to be, are they? So there's something funny going
Bonnie de
on there,
douche,
isn't
my
there?
old
So
son Bonnie de douche. But
yeah.
anyway, let's go back to that lovely day. Now, I had a bit of a mare on the morning of the game because um, I had a suspected detached retina. So I ended up down the opticians at like 10 past 9 on the Saturday morning. Thank God, not a detached retina. I've just got something called PVD, which happens in people of a certain age, where the gunk around your eye subtracts and contracts. It causes bits to break off and float and flash in bits and whatever, and it can be commonly mistaken for a detached retina. Um, I'm in the opticians and I'm like, mate, if you're going to refer me to the hospital, don't bother doing that until Monday because technically this is Welsh Rugby Christmas and I would rather go blind than miss this today. Um, because we had food beforehand in Bridgend, we met up with you. Beautiful sunny day. That terrace was stonking in the sun, wasn't it? It was
It was
really
lovely.
bright.
Yeah.
I had to go over and borrow a cap
That,
off
yeah, you did,
John
yeah.
because it was so bright. Um, and it was just, you know, a lot of the Scarlets fans were great around us. You've got to give them that, you know. There is the hardcore ultra casual element who were dickheads. They were dickheads to a kid next to us. I say kid, he must have been about 18.
Mm,
Grown men in their 40s and 50s giving an 18-year-old shit. Pick on someone your own size. Don't be an arsehole.
yeah.
Um, and it was lovely to see that people were queuing to get in just before kickoff.
Yeah. Really was,
It,
yeah. It
you
was
know,
fantastic atmosphere, wasn't it? And
it's great.
I think what everybody said at the end of the game, I was speaking to Carl's fan that I know after the game, and he said, imagine losing this. You know, neither side want to lose each other at the end of the day because what that
Craziness.
means to everybody, what it meant to everybody who was there on that day, win or lose, we want to have that derby
We
back
want those.
twice a
We
year,
want
every
those.
year for
We
good.
want those derbies.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know, it means a lot. And all right, it's not the greatest looking trophy in the world, and I heard it referred to as the Hubcap, but we didn't win the Welsh Shield. You know, we did get a bit of silverware. Um, and after the turbulent season that we've had with all the ups, downs, roundabouts, to end on that high note at home. All right, we didn't end on that high note, but I'm pretending Leinster didn't happen. Um,
Yeah,
you
it
know,
didn't.
went on that high, and for Jack to get that try, as his parting shot to Welsh Derby rugby, outstanding. Um, I could touch upon the refereeing standard.
Well, I walked back to, I had a lovely walk back to the car, to be fair, the last half a mile or so back to the car with this lovely old couple who were both Scarlets fans.
Yeah,
And I was chatting to them and they were complaining about the ref or whatever. And I said, well, it's one of those things, and it swings and roundabouts as the season goes on or whatever. Anyway, it turned out their grandson was playing second row for the Scarlets that day. Which is why he was particularly irate, and his wife kept on saying, "Leave it now, leave it, come on, leave it now." And he was, but a lovely chat with them on the way back, and they were both very, very lovely people. And we found out, and it ended up our cars were parked next to each other in the car park as well, so it was a nice
and I
end to the day,
think
and a nice chat with the Scarlets.
every team in the URC has got a reason to be butthurt over some of the refereeing. That's happened across the season. Um,
And it's still happening now in the
it
playoffs. We've
is
seen some
with
shocking reffing in
with
the
the
playoffs
playoffs
already.
as
So
well.
yeah,
Um, but it was a lovely occasion for the last home game of the season. It was lovely to see the kids being able to speak to the players afterwards. Um, I've got to say thank you to the OSC and Lance. We um, gave out some of the OSC Oscar grogs, and we were very kindly allowed on the pitch. And Lance had a bit of banter with me about my eye, and he very kindly let me stay on the pitch and get my shirt signed. So I managed to get pretty much everyone to sign my shirt. Got to say goodbye to Dan Cassendi, who
that's
was
why I left in the end. So you taking so long to get your shirt signed. I
I
thought I'm
know,
going to be there all night
I know.
otherwise. So I said goodbye to John and left.
Had a lovely catch up there. We had a lovely catch off Jack. Lovely lads. But talking points of the game, really, I think for us, our scrum went really, really well. I don't think the complaints afterwards by Nigel about the penalty count were warranted. Your scrum
No.
was routed.
Yeah, I
Less,
mean the
less.
penalty count does stand out, doesn't it? But it was as a result of how poor their scrum was generally,
Yeah,
and that they were living on the edge, being offside constantly, and
Yeah,
they would say that we were as well. But when you look back at the game, I sort of watched most of it that night when I got back, and yeah, most of them were
fine
warranted
margins.
penalties, and yeah, they couldn't really argue about it. And
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, you said as good as our scrum was as poor as our line out was. Really, so they
awful.
balanced out with the
Yeah.
line out, and I'm sure when we talk about our new signings later on, then hopefully that'll help to redress the balance a little bit with the
Oh,
lineup
yeah,
next season. Hopefully, anyway. But
100%.
yeah, but the lineup we just couldn't win any of our own ball really, could we? At one point, it was kind of we didn't
It
want to
was
give up lineouts
horrendous.
because there was no point.
Um, it was horrendous. So that is certainly something that we need to work on over the summer, going into the new season. And I think you're right. We've got some signing coming in now that are certainly going to help that. I did think the Scarlets backline were pretty dangerous when they
They
had
were.
ball in hand. They really, really were, and you've got to give them that. They have got a lovely backline.
As somebody jokingly made the point afterwards, somebody who wanted three clubs or three regions rather than four. They said, "Can you imagine the Ospreys pack with the Scarlets backline?"
Forward, yeah,
And
our
it would be
forwards
good.
with their
Yeah.
backs,
Yeah.
you know.
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I did like Dan Ed coming over to the terrace and doing the throwing hat thing to some of the Scarlet
Yes.
fans. They did not like that.
No.
Um, that did tickle me. I love that in a player, that confidence at that age and the ability to take the Mickey out of it. I love that. So Dan, keep doing
Yeah.
that, son. I'm really excited about seeing how you develop over the next couple of years because I think, and I've said it to his face, I think he's the future of the where the Welsh 10 shirt lies.
I
Um,
can't believe still that there are discussions in Wales Online, and I know you can't trust anything that they say, but they're still discussing who should be 10 for Wales in the summer. There is no question. There is absolutely no question
I'm not
whatsoever. I
being
don't
funny.
understand why anybody's even
You've
going
got to
there.
pin your mag to you've got to pin your flag to the mast now, haven't you?
Yeah,
There's got to be some level of consistency there. Um, you know, Ratty had another fantastic game. Just seeing the amount of awards that he had at the
yeah,
end of do, I do think as a player he's done phenomenally this year.
yeah,
If anybody needs to feel really pissed off that they're not included within the Welsh setup,
mm,
it's Ratty.
yeah.
You know, and I will keep banging on that drum, and not just because I know his dad, not just because I've spoken to him multiple times. As a player, he deserves to be included and putting his hand up for inclusion within the Welsh team.
Yeah.
Um,
I think he's
you know,
almost taken on that Morgan Morris role of Mr. Consistent this year, isn't he? He's
he
been
has
playing almost every single game, and he's
out of
been
his
a
shirt.
solid 8, 9 out of 10 every week.
He's been
Been really
aggressive.
good. Yeah.
You know, he's been displaying some serious rugby nose with the way that he's been playing. Um, and I just think he deserves to be included there. Um, shall we not talk about Leinster? I don't want to talk about
It
Leinster.
didn't happen. I don't think the players knew the game had happened, to be honest, either,
Just
to
a
be
nice
fair.
weekend in Dublin,
I
wasn't
mean,
it?
it was a nothing, wasn't it? Leinster knew they were in the playoffs anyway. They'd got a European final. They played the European final,
Yeah,
or they preparing for the European final. It was the following weekend
they
of
were
the European final, wasn't
preparing.
it?
Yeah,
So
they were
they had
preparing.
players who were playing for a place in that European final. Not that it mattered anyway with the battering they took against Bordeaux, but that was another funny Saturday afternoon. I really enjoyed
LBB.
that one.
Um,
But our boys, it was just a game too far, wasn't it? We'd played our cup
it's
final
been
the
a
week
tough
before,
season.
and everything else that
Um,
had gone before it. Yeah, definitely.
and we can keep saying, you know, it's been a tough season, but it has been a tough season. It's, you know, physically, mentally, and with, you know, the players that were going, it's just got to have been hard to kind of get up a bit of muster to go out there
Yeah.
and do a number. But we have had some announcements like players leaving. Obviously, it's been confirmed now that the likes of Jack Walsh, Cassende are leaving, which, you know, on top of Derry, Jack, Phil Cognacinia, there are other people as well, you know, who are leaving and they escape me, and I'm not going to go on my phone because that's unprofessional. But you know, big losses.
Absolutely.
You know, I think for Dan, it was a case of wanting to go back to South Africa for family reasons. I don't think it was a case of that he wanted to leave or they wanted him to leave. Jack Walsh, I think, has gone for, I don't know why he's gone.
I
I
mean,
just
you would say
I guess it's
consistency,
cash.
money.
I guess
Um,
it's cash.
he's going to
Um,
be he's going to have probably a better, well, probably a calmer quality of life, shall we say, than he's had with the Ospreys the last couple of years, with all the
yeah, and I think
uncertainty, and better paid while he's there as well.
he's
So
going to be better paid. He's going to earn a lot of money. If he was my kid, would I have told him to hold out for another year to become Welsh qualified? Yeah, probably. I would have been like, suck it up, son, for another year. But I can kind of see why he's gone. I get it. I understand it.
suppose
That
I guess it's a short career that could come to an end at any time, and he's had an opportunity to go and experience a new
absolutely,
culture, be well paid for it. Rather than stay in the shit show that's Welsh rugby at the minute, with a chance of possibly getting a cap or being ignored like most of our players do down the years anyway.
yeah,
So
stupid,
yeah,
absolutely stupid. Um, I have to say this though. Did say I love Harry Deves. Told him to his face because he had his Oscar. Um, and myself and a couple of members of the OSC were being rather naughty to him on the pitch after the Scarlets game. She's like, Harry, take it over and show Todd he could win next year. Go on, he's just standing over there with his Turk mates. Go and show him. Look, this is what we give our players down here. If you're lucky, you'll get one of these next year. And he's like, no, piss off. I'm not going to do that. I was like, you're a wimp. Um, had a really nice chat with Ryan Smith. Again, he is just such an open, lovely, down to earth, down to earth Aussie dude. Like that's what I love about Australians. What you see with them is what you get. There's no kind of it's that Aussie thing. Um,
yeah. It's nice. I'm listening to the Scrum 5 end of season podcast, and he got their signing of the season award or something, and
absolutely,
made their URC Welsh 15 for the
yeah.
season as well. And he's been absolutely outstanding for us this year. Made such a difference, especially with losing Beard. It was always going to be a big body to sort of replace, and he's done
Oh,
that
he's
and
come in and he
more.
has filled those shoes and some more. Um,
Absolutely.
and the good thing is, I suppose we're jumping around the houses here, but we've got no real structure tonight. We're just having a chat as if we're down the pub with our mates.
We've got a month of stuff to catch up on, haven't we? We
Oh,
could be here till about
loads.
midnight.
Absolutely not. It's Wednesday. There's obviously something on at 9 that I want to watch. I don't know what it is yet. Um, but we put like in our WhatsApp group, I put out a couple of questions when we were originally going to do this a couple of weeks ago. And one of the questions that I said, who's been the signing for you this season? Who stood out for you? 100% across the board, everybody turned around and said Ryan Smith.
Yeah,
He's settled in, he again, like Anka Sandy, it's like he gets that nil.
yeah.
It's like he's Swansea Town, born and bred. He understands. Like, I'm not going to say the private conversation that I had with him when I went up to Macron, but it did involve a C word. And I love that about someone because I love that word.
I'm
It's
shocked.
I'd love to say I'm shocked, but I think it's such an
I'm shocked,
expression
shocked at him, not you, Sam, but
absolutely not annoying me. But everybody across the board turned around and said, "What a player for us this season."
yeah,
Um, the other thing that we mentioned was, who do we think has improved vastly this season? And we had a mixed bag there with like St Hopkins,
mm,
Dan Eds, Ratty, loads of people were mentioned that within the group what they had. And I
yeah.
think
As you say,
last
Hopkins has definitely put his hand up second half of the season, isn't he?
absolutely
To be, I know he's been a regular starter towards the end of the season anyway because of injuries and suspensions or whatever, but he's really put his hand up for a regular
100%.
place next season.
Yeah, and it was lovely to see Owen Watkin come back from injury because when
Yeah.
he was playing, again, absolutely superb. You know, I think a lot of people have put their hands up this season and said, "Hey, come on." let give me a chance, give me a run. Um, and I think Harry Deeves can carry on being a menace as long as he likes, as far as I'm concerned. He's my favourite menace. Um, but the other thing that we asked in the group as well, like excitement levels for St Helens, because I think we knew we were going to St Helens, but we didn't know whether we'd be in early enough in the season, how that would pan out. Obviously, now looking at the fixtures, Dragons is our first
Yeah,
home game in October, and the amount of work that's going on there at the minute is phenomenal. I realised today that I know the guy who's in charge of all the project planning of it, so I'm going to see
oh
if
really?
I can get down and have a sneaky little interview with him about how things
Always with
are going.
always with the inside scoop, Sam.
Mate,
Always.
I'm one of these people who knows people. I get that in work as well. How do you know them? And I'm like, oh, I've done my job for 26 years now. I dealt with loads of people over the years.
But it's
Um,
amazing though, seeing the drone pictures that they put up. It's amazing how much has happened already just in a few
fantastic.
days.
And Rod has got like a piece of turf
I
now.
saw, yeah.
So he's living his best life with his turf.
It is
And
quite sad. I get what people are saying about sad to see the turf coming up because there's so much history being played on that
there
field, cricket
is,
and rugby. But you can understand at the same time why it needs to change, why
it
we need to be
does,
looking into the 21st century now of
but
we can do with it. But
they're giving that turf away.
they are, yeah.
There's
Yeah.
going to other pitches who can embrace of from that legacy and that
Yeah.
history, which I think is phenomenal.
That's a brilliant idea. Yeah.
But the other good news is the announcement of the funding and the funding that's going to be released with, which is far better than we were originally anticipating.
Yeah.
So, you know, for me, really strong, positive news. We've signed a 50-year lease, which gives me some comfort moving forward. Um, and we've signed the PRA, which guarantees us at least for another 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
So I'm seeing the benefits of that. However, Welsh Rugby Union is still the harbingers of doom in the
Yeah,
background,
they are.
saying they still want to get down to three. Obviously, they're not listening to anything that anyone is saying. Our lovely, friendly person who knows how to use Company's House on Twitter is still being a knobhead, um,
Yeah.
saying that it's blatantly obvious that, we can't afford three. Um, and do you know what? I'm not giving the oxygen to.
Not many
Um,
people do now. I've noticed there's less and less response
I
to his
think
tweets anymore. People have just had enough and they just can't be bothered to argue with
he's
him even
just
anymore
done
because there's no
this. He's
point.
obviously got someone's at WRU arm up his ass controlling his mouth because it's certainly not
Mm,
his own fucking brain.
no.
Um, but you know, I've worked in organisations where there's had to be cost cutting. You know, in my job where you deal with the housing sector, I've worked through two recessions where the housing market's taken a dive, and I've worked for very large organisations that have had to cut costs. There's ways you can cut costs within an organisation to make it lean and for it to run lean.
Mm,
All the organisations I've ever worked for, you look at the top because that's where your main expenditure is. Do you really need all those people at the top? Do you really need all those people within middle management? The
mm.
reality is not really, no. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
and yet the WE is still making big appointments. They've
yeah,
made another one this week, one a couple of weeks ago again. They're bringing in these new people to new
yeah.
roles,
You
and
cut
spending a
jobs.
lot of money doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where you can make these shavings. I'm not advocating that loads of people be made redundant. I don't want anybody to lose their job. But if you can cut a few of those big salaries, you're making massive savings.
And the thing
And
is,
if you
in any
cut your
organization, when you're making cuts, the cuts have to be across
the
every
board.
level of that organization.
Yeah,
So they can't just say, okay, we're going to cut players and staff within the regions, but we're going to leave the union exactly as it is and everybody's going to have a job like they have now. If cuts need to be made, you start looking at your most expensive cuts, the people that cost you the most money and how effective they are, and then you work your way down from there. And ultimately, as you said, there's a lot of bureaucratic positions within the Welsh Rugby Union that are being paid that don't
we,
need to be there.
for example, in my job, I am a rep read in my job at the minute. I've been doing it for 26 years. Conveyancers, property lawyers are in short supply. It's a thankless job. It's not great. Um, and it is a minefield. I've got to be a jack of all trades, master of none. I've got to know land law, property law. I've got to know all these different things. In an organisation, I know what my value is because someone like me is hen's teeth,
Mm.
to have that level of experience. We've lost 50% of conveyancers in my field since COVID because it's not easy dealing with the public. It's not easy dealing with all the legislation that we've got to deal with. There's so much more personal liability now than it was when I was 26 years ago. When firms have struggled, they're not going to get rid of their conveyancers because your conveyancers are bringing your money in.
Mm.
I bill a phenomenal amount of money per year for my company.
Yeah.
Are you going to get rid of me? Or are you going to get rid of somebody who doesn't add any monetary value or bring money into the
Mhm.
business? And I think sometimes looking at, the Welsh Rugby Union from a business perspective, because I've worked in my job, but I've also worked as management in my job environment, what value do I add? Because in my environment, it was always managers and above that who went first
Mm.
because they're not bringing you the money in to keep the
No.
doors open. And I think the Welsh Rugby Union needs to look at that. They need to run as a business and
Yeah.
strip the fat away. You can run
Absolutely.
lean.
Yeah.
So when they're saying they're running it as lean with an organisation that employs over 350 people, you're not running lean.
No.
You
And this
know,
is what local governments and councils are having to do, isn't it? Have done over the last few years. They're
they've
cutting
got
their
it.
staff,
Yeah,
they're cutting departments, they're cutting people down. They've had to do that. Union will have to do the
yeah.
same at
So
some point.
what is the Welsh Rugby Union around that?
I mean, what I'm
Um,
hoping next season is that because we know now we've got this 2 year cycle before anything needs to change, that we have a year next season where they leave us alone, where they just say, okay, we'll carry on in the background with what we need to do and to do our projections and whatever else,
just
but leave the
uncertainty.
teams, leave the coaches, leave the players to get on with their job without that pressure standing over them next
Yes.
season. Because I
And
think
there's,
on the field is a massive year for all the regions next year. If we can show that all four regions can be
yes,
competitive, then that's the answer the union need in terms of not making the cuts. If, Cardiff have shown this year with the squad no better than ours, really, that they can make the playoffs and they can be competitive in those playoffs as well. They, you know,
yes.
they
And
they were good in that game against the Stormers away. We could have been there without the pressure we've been under this year with a few less injuries.
yeah, and
Scarlets have been poor, Dragons are improving. So I think if all four regions can show an improvement next year and be, at least two could be somewhere
yeah,
around the playoffs, then that's surely enough to say to the union, okay, we can be competitive if the national team starts to pick up at the same time as well. We've started to see the shoots of that at the end of the international season. The summer's going
yeah,
to be tough, but maybe again into the autumn. If those shoots are there, then why then cut them down and start from scratch again?
yeah. And I don't want to sound controversial when I say this about Cardiff. The reality is, it wasn't great for them when they went bankrupt. But on the flip side, you've also got the union coming out and saying there will always be rugby in Cardiff.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've got a little bit of a level of certainty there. So you can say, oh, they've been under pressure for the last year. Not as much as us and the Turks have, really.
No.
Um, you know, and that's not being disrespectful to them. There's different levels of stress, and I think
Mhm.
we've been pushed to breaking point this year. With the way that certain things have been handled and the way that certain things have been done. But we'll park that. That's tomorrow's worry. Let's
Exactly.
concentrate on today. Um, Season tickets seem to be going really well. It seems to be lots of
Mm.
appetite. Um, we've gone for platinum. this year. But there is an option for us to upgrade to hospitality in the nest, which will be in the party. So we're umming and ahhing over that. We don't know. But loads of people have gone for the gold and the silver. The terrace seems as though it's going to be bouncing.
Mm.
And so many people have turned around and said, can't wait for the um, openings to come up where people
Yeah.
who not had a season ticket for a long time are renewing or coming back after
Yeah.
several years.
I was gutted. I got to a level of excitement with the announcements. I was thinking, oh, can I do this next year? Can I get a season ticket and come down as often as I possibly can? But then when I saw the kickoff times for the matches,
And does.
7:30, quarter to eight kickoffs, almost, well, I think two-thirds of our games potentially are 7:30, quarter to eight kickoffs, either on Friday or Saturday.
Yeah,
So for fans who are a bit further away, but if I could make an appeal to anybody that's listening who may have decisions to make, ticket packages for fans who are a little bit further away would be really
yeah,
useful if they put, a group of three matches together and say, okay, buy these three at a discounted cost or whatever, or
yeah, or
a
give
half
you the
season ticket or
option.
whatever it might be. And they may do that depending on the full season tickets, I suppose, and how well they sell. But something like a half season ticket or a 4 or 5 match package or whatever to fans who
Yeah, and you
can't
can
get
pick
down
the
there for
ones that
every
you can make.
match would be really, really useful, I think, and maybe, really, really popular as well with fans who want to come but
And
don't want to commit to that whole season.
still bringing funds into the club as well.
Yeah, but it's really
Um,
exciting. I mean, I've already mapped out, which games are reasonable kickoff times and when I can get forward and backwards with work and stuff or whatever. So yeah,
yeah,
even for me being far far away, who's literally made 3 games in 2 seasons, I'm already mapping out a far more regular visits down to South Wales next season. I'll have to warn my car and petrol and everything else
let's
what's
kid
coming with,
ourselves. It's going to be bastard freezing. It's going to be
Oh
Baltic,
yeah, well, yeah.
but I have got my eyes on a new boat. um, but I don't mind. I don't mind cold. I don't mind wet. I just, the beautiful thing about Bridgend was it was a cauldron of atmosphere. The terrace was bouncing. I think if we can recreate that here, you know, it's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be amazing.
I think we're
Uh,
going to pick up hopefully a lot of floating fans as well, people that maybe wouldn't make
students.
the effort to travel to Bridgend to a game, but if there's a game on their doorstep, they're more likely to go if it's a nice evening or whatever. Oh, let's pop down to St Helens,
I
watch
think you're going
Belfast
to get a
tonight.
lot of students who may not necessarily buy a season ticket, but will think, God, you know what? It's a Saturday night. Let's
Yeah,
go.
yeah, exactly.
So I think it's going to be amazing. And I think, for me, I just think it's a really, really positive thing that we're going back to not going back to St Helens, but we're going to St Helens. It will be our new home, and I'm just really excited to see how it develops over the summer because it's really starting to pick up traction now and things. I
Nice,
think we
yeah.
all feel better when we can see things that are happening, and things are definitely happening now with these things that are going on. Um, and I just love that whole kind of thing that we've got to look forward to.
So am I
That
right in saying that the infamous Worcester stand is going to be the main stand for next season, and then it's going to be moved to behind the
Yeah, I
posts
think
the
so.
following years? That I was going to work, yeah.
Yeah.
So it is
To be
going to be a
honest,
little bit of a mishmash, isn't it, for season one, and
yeah,
then
everybody's
yeah,
like talking about like stands and this, that, and the other. Do you know, I couldn't give a flying shit. As long as I'm there, as long as I've got a region, um, I'm excited about seeing what new jerseys there might be. Um,
could be
it's
something special to. Obviously, this season's jersey was kind of obviously planned for the
homage.
return to St Helens, wasn't there, with the map and everything on it or whatever. So
Yeah.
it'd be interesting to see what they come up with next season instead now.
Yeah, and I think, it'll be amazing because, if we can go back to those glory days where we had the best selling shirt across Europe,
Mm.
amazing. I do think it's quite funny that because of the amount of Australian players we appear to be signing now, we're going back to being called Australia,
Yeah,
which makes me laugh. And someone mentioned, are we going to have a yellow, golden
yellow away
green
shirt.
away kit
That
or a
would be nice.
Euro kit? And I was like, yeah, I could go for that, like,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely. Yeah.
right?
We need to
Um,
embrace it, don't we?
G'day, fair dinkum.
I mean, chances are the kit was probably designed about 12 months ago anyway, wasn't it? So
Yeah. Should we throw another shrimp on the barbie? I can't even do an Australian accent,
I was
and
gonna
keep
say, what
saying
accent was?
I love Kylie
Yeah.
Minogue. That's shocking. Um,
I thought we'd
but
send an Indian player there. That's for a minute, but
I was like, it just makes me think of It Ain't Half Hot Mum with
oh God, couldn't get away with that these days, could you?
do you know what though? He was actually but the guy who played like the Indian server actually it was I was reading about it the other day because someone had put they put like trigger warnings on
Yeah,
when you watch them on TV
that's
now
it. Yeah.
to say you know
If you woke, you might get
different
offended by this.
times
Yeah.
and whatever. Um and somebody had mentioned about oh it's disgraceful, blackface, blah blah blah. But it turns out he was actually born and brought up in India.
We'll see.
Yeah, and he literally spoke 4 or 5 different variants of the
Good
Indian
God.
language. So he
Wow.
was like, I'm not actually taking the mickey out of that. I was actually brought up around that, and I was brought up in the culture.
Right.
She's like, I see it as a homage to,
Yeah, yeah.
I do love It Ain't Off. Windsor Davis for me just makes It Ain't Off hot, man.
Talking of
But
which, did I hear something that they're going to remake Grand Slam?
yeah. So Steve
Spears, yeah.
Spires was
Spires,
in like
Spears. Yeah.
Stella and the Tuckers
Yeah,
and Mike Robbins. They're going to do a follow up. So
that's
it's
it.
going to
Yeah,
be
that's
their
great.
modern type homage to
Yeah, that'd be brilliant.
Grand Slam. Absolutely gets me. I've got about 4 different fake fur coats, and because of Grand Slam, um, John calls them my fun fur. And I always say to him, if you dribble on my fun fur one more time, we are going to have a problem like in Grand Slam. Um,
I actually tried to find Grand Slam on to the streaming services a few months ago. It's nowhere it's not
I've got it
on
on
anywhere.
DVD,
Yeah, well,
so I will
I've
lend
got
it
VHS
to
of it,
you.
so that's even further back.
Um, I keep saying to John, I'm here, I'm there, I'm everywhere. So beware. It literally just it tickles me because my old man organised the pub trips for everyone to go away. And he
Yeah.
was like, yeah, it was like that going away in the 70s, which like amused me no end.
Well,
But I
so
just
good job Rod's not here.
love it
There's another 5 minutes that would have gone completely over his head tonight
over his
anyway,
head.
so.
And I tell you what I found the other day as well on Never the Twain with Donald Cinder. No,
Oh,
the two
blimey,
antique
yeah.
dealers whose
Yeah,
kids
yeah.
end up getting married, but they hate each other. I love stupid comedy like that. I've got like the world's I'm not a fan of clever comedy. Um it just I don't want to say it goes over my head, but it just doesn't land with me. Whereas
No.
stupid stuff like the double entendres in Are You Being Served and Heidi High,
Yeah.
just that kind of thing tickles me. That's my
Well, that's what
sense of
we were brought up on, wasn't it? That's the humor that we were brought up on
humor.
in the 80s, wasn't it? So,
I know, Gladys Pooh. Um, so I love that kind of thing. But obviously, we've been a bit slow behind the others in announcing sign-ins, and we've kind of had people saying we're being linked with this, we're being linked with that, we're being linked with the other. Um, but obviously, the big one got announced last, was it Friday? Earlier on
hmm.
this week, maybe? I don't know the hell I
I don't know
am.
what day it is today, to be honest. What day is it today?
24 hours ago, Mark, and only last week. Um, Liam Wright.
Yeah.
Now, we know my guilty pleasure is Super Rugby on a Saturday morning, very, very early, because my dog's an arse, so she wakes us up at stupid o'clock, and she's a big dog, she stands on the bed. So on a Saturday morning, I can usually be found in bed with a cup of tea watching Super Rugby. That's where I got my love for Ian Smith from. Obviously watched Liam playing before then. My one concern was obviously he got injured during
Yeah,
the Wales game, and he's been out for a little while. But if he can come and play the way that he was playing before he was injured, fuck me, what a signing.
I know. Yeah, if he can come and stay fit, then it's probably the signing of the summer, potentially. Yeah,
Ryan Smith, Mark two come in next year, it'll be like Ryan
absolutely.
two. Not really, Ryan, because I know you do watch this.
I mean, it potentially makes our pack, well, formidable, whoever we play. If you think, there's still Ratty Moriarty, Morgan Morris, Morgan
I know,
Morse,
honest to God,
um,
Harry
you
Deeves,
know,
like fucking hell. Who else do we
yeah,
want to like phenom?
yeah.
Um, and it was lovely that he'd spoken to Ryan, and Ryan was like, mate, it's a really great place to come. The
Mm,
culture, the people, the fans. So do you know what? Give Ryan a PR job. Who else do you want
absolutely.
to bring over, mate?
Bring whoever you want, as long as they're Welsh qualified as well. If they can find a
You
Welsh
know?
grandparent or great grandparent,
Yeah.
or they've been to
If they've been
Brynmil
to my
once in their
steak and they
lives.
know Kylie Minogue's nana, like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
Um, but it's lovely that we've got that link with Aussie players. And obviously we've been linked with other Aussie players. We know there's gonna be more people signing. I'm happy. Like I nearly said I'll be singing what's his face songs. Oh friggin' hell.
you weren't going to say Rolf Harris then, were
Yeah, I was. I
you?
was gonna say time me down sport. Um,
Oh dear. Okay.
no, no, no. It's like every Christmas. Like I asked John, where's that another rock and roll Christmas? And he's like, it's fucking Gary Glitter. They're not gonna play that. I'm like, fishing, it was a banger of a song.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh well.
but I'm happy to be Australian for a little while.
Absolutely. At
You
the end
know,
of the day, if they improve the squad and makes us stronger, then they can come from Timbuktu as far as we're concerned, can't they? As long as
yeah.
they bring something.
We've also signed Dan John from Exeter.
Yeah.
Again, another great signing. Um, you know, from the little that I've seen him playing for Exeter, think he'll come. He'll sit in. Um,
Yeah, he's
you
another
know,
one who can play a few different
can
positions
play
again.
across. He's a utility
He's
back.
exactly, yeah, so he can slot in.
Happy
Yeah.
days. And it again, eye on the prize. I suppose he wants to be considered for Wales, but at the end of the day, if we get to utilise him while other people are on Welsh duty, cracking.
Mm.
Absolutely cracking.
I suppose
Um,
the big one we're still waiting for squad wise is our reserve 10, isn't it? Or our stand-in 10 for when
we
Dan's
need
injured.
we need a 10.
We have
Um,
been linked with that young lad from Cardiff, haven't we? Who's a prospect, but I don't know whether
yeah.
I can't remember his name now, but
Um, it escapes me.
yeah,
There's so many rumours that are going around, but there are pockets in our squad where we could, I think we could do with another centre maybe, um, and definitely a 10. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Um,
And
it,
there will undoubtedly be new signings to come still. We've been, as you say, behind the game in terms of making signings because of the uncertainty with the PRA and everything else. Now that that money is confirmed and we know where we are budget-wise for the next 2 years, then forward planning can now happen. And, we may not
yeah,
get the players that we maybe would have gone in for 6 months ago, but there's still going to be plenty of talent out there that are willing to move and are available
yeah,
currently. So,
and I just think for me, then I just think we can build from this. I
yeah.
really think we can. And if we can fill those gaps in, you know, Mark Jones came in and there were points when we were playing phenomenal, world beating, beautiful rugby last season. And there were points when it just didn't click.
Hmm.
So if we can just die in out and make the points where we play beautiful rugby more than we don't click,
Yeah.
then I'm happy.
And like we
Um,
said a few pods ago, we as the season went on, we sort of went back to type a little bit in terms of relying on our forwards more than the lovely back play that we saw earlier on in the season. Maybe the new signing sort of points to the fact that we'll maybe double down on that again a little bit next season and look for that
Yeah,
solid platform which all teams need before they can release the backs or whatever. So maybe, Mark just felt that it needed one extra big body to come into that pack
yeah.
first, as a sort of priority. And we've got enough
And
talent
then
in the
iron
back then,
everything
yeah,
out.
exactly.
Um, you know, Lovely to see Reece Henry being called up to the Welsh squad as well.
Yeah,
Because again, I think for me, he's very often overlooked.
absolutely.
And I think lots of criticism of him online and blah blah blah. You're not watching, we're not what we're watching.
Mm,
We know what he brings to the table and the skills that he's got. And he seems to be a really well liked character around the squad, and seems
yeah,
to be integral to it. And I think you need those kind of club men who then take that step up to international level, because I think he brings so much more than his game.
yeah.
Um, but I, for one, am very, very excited for next season. I think, you know, we've got, like last year, um, we have got a slew of away games to start, but that gives us the opportunity to extend, um, you know, the time that we've got to get St Helens ready. Then we've got Dragons up away, and then the week later we've got Dragons
Thanks, home, yeah.
at home, which is going to be phenomenal. I believe we've got Cardiff on Halloween, I
Yeah.
think,
I think it's
maybe.
the following week, because we got two home games, one
Yeah,
after the other, and then we have
yeah. So we've
respective
got two
weekends,
big
yeah.
derbies, one after the other. So
Yeah,
what a 2 weeks in October that is gonna
yeah.
be. And
Fantastic.
I, for one, think we've got lots to be excited about, moving forward. The one message that I would give to anybody, if you know someone is on the fence about getting a season ticket, encourage them. It is a case of use it or lose it. Loads of moaning about the pitch in St Helens, blah, blah, blah. But for the community use that it's going to get,
Yeah,
a real grass pitch is not going to take that level of beating. So, we've got to be able to use it.
yeah.
The other
I think
thing
the
is,
price point is good, isn't it? I think they've got it about right in terms of pricing, whether there'll be a slight increase when they go on general sale.
yeah,
And that's the same in any team, in any sport, that
you get
they look
rewarded
after
for having
their.
your season ticket, don't you?
Exactly, exactly. So there'll probably be a
Um,
slight increase, but I think the price point is about right to
yeah,
encourage people to buy, I think, yeah.
and the fabulous thing is, you've got the pay in three option
Hmm.
for this season, but what they're planning on doing as of next in January, then you can pay for the whole year.
That's good.
So the season for 27-28, you start paying for your
Start paying
season
in
ticket
January.
in
Yeah.
January. So you split your season ticket cost across 12 months, which for me will work because I've gone for platinum. I think that was going to sound like a Betty Big Bollocks now, but that was like 600 quid. So if I split that across 12 months, then I'm paying 40 odd quid a
Yeah.
month. Do you know what I mean? It's not, I think for an extra tenner, I get to win the nest and have food. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Whereas a terrace
So,
ticket, you're talking about 20 something pound a month, aren't you?
yeah, I think it's
Which is,
250 quid or something for a
yeah,
terrace ticket. So
yeah.
you're
So about
paying what, 20 quid a month?
21, 22 a month, yeah.
So, even for, and I think that's fabulous for families as well. So if you're getting multiple season tickets, the ability to spread that cost
Yeah.
is amazing. You know, everyone in the surrounding area, Neath, Port Talbot, up the Neath Valley, Swansea, as far down as the Locker Bridge, you know, encourage people to come. If you want regional rugby to survive, you've got to come and watch it in real life. And it's been so lovely to see so many people, um, saying that they're going to come back and that they're going to renew their season tickets or they're going to buy a season ticket for the first time.
Mm.
Come, we will welcome you to the Australia family with open arms. The other lush thing as well. Founders bricks. I
Yeah.
absolutely adore that. Um, I bought three. Um, one for one for me, one for my brother. Um, John doesn't want one because we know deep down at heart, John is a Glasgow Warriors fan. Being married to me, then he is an Ospreys fan by default. They are his second team. So I was like, do you want a founders brick, boo? No. The third one then is going to be in the name of my dad. St Helens is where I started my rugby journey, early 80s, being passed through the toilet in the old stand
Oh God, that's
so we
brave.
wouldn't have to pay. Um, Mark, there's about 15 of them, and they only had like 3 season tickets between all 15. So they'd go through the toilets and pass the kids in and
I was
pass
saying
the
more it was
season
brave
tickets.
to go into the St Helens toilet. I was thinking more than anything else, but
Yeah. You know, so for me, my dad died before the Ospreys. Like my dad died in 1999. So um my dad wasn't around for the inception of Ospreys, but I can guarantee you if he was still here, that fucker would have a season ticket with me and my brother and with John,
yeah.
without a doubt. Like, do you know what I mean? And the other beautiful thing is you've been able to bolt on as well for Swans for the whites for an
Yes,
extra like
I did see
100 odd
that. Yeah.
quid.
And it looks like
Which
the first Whites game there's going to be probably before the first Ospreys game as well. So technically, the first game at St Helens is going to be a
is going
Whites
to be the
game.
whites.
Yeah.
Um, I haven't bolted on yet, but I have got the option to bolt on because we went for expensive season tickets. I was undecided about the whites, but I think we're going to bolt on to the last payment.
Mm.
Um, because some days you're literally there watching the whites first, then there's a bit of a break, and then you're going into Osprey. So
Yeah.
it'll be a no-brainer thought for us,
Yeah.
really.
Lovely.
Um, but yeah, I just love the whole idea of a founder's break, and I love the fact that even if you haven't bought a season ticket, you can buy a founder's break. I just
Mhm.
think that's such a lovely thing to do. Plus you'll get like a founder's badge, a certificate, and it's just a nice thing. And I know a lot of people have bolted on to that thing as well. Um, and that's kind of very random, all over the shop end of season review. But um, sad to say goodbye to Derry and Jack. Do I think they'll come back? Yeah,
I hope so, and it's nice to think that they would. I have put Jack behind me in honor of him leaving. It's kind of the end of a chapter, I feel, tonight. This is kind of our end of season, so we can put a lid on. We've talked a lot about who's leaving and how sad we'll be to see them go and everything else. So I've put Jack up there tonight as kind of
I
a
love
an
him.
homage to him. And good luck to him and Dewi at Gloucester, Cassende at the Bulls, Jack Walsh, wherever he's going in France, and
France.
anybody else who's leaving at the end of the season. They've all been
I
brilliant
wish them
servants to
all
us,
well.
and yeah.
They have all been fantastic Ospreys. Once an Osprey, always an Osprey. Will I be going up to Gloucester to watch Jack and Dewi's first game? Too fucking right, I will. I'm gonna do what RCK said, and I'm gonna follow the players. Um, to be honest, I've been up to Gloucester quite a bit to watch Gloucester play in, so it's not like I'm bandwagon jumping. I've been there before.
Mm.
Um, so I will happily go and do that. Do I think we will have a couple of pods on for the summer, maybe because with the
Well, there's
internationals? If we
internationals,
can
aren't
get
they?
our if we can get our calendars together, then yes.
Depends if Rod's in Britain or not, or whether he's gallivanting again.
Fucking hell, that boy got more stamps in his passport than I've had hot dinners this year.
Yeah.
Um, the life of a youngster. Um, I gotta be honest, I loved the like where he was in Croatia. Um, I watch, me, I love reality TV, so I love Below Deck about the people who work on super yachts and charters for posh people. And the Med for one season was in Croatia. It looked beautiful.
I went there when it was still Yugoslavia, so
Did
again,
you?
showing my age massively. They lost my suitcase on the way off the plane. It was a really poor country at the time. You basically got a meal for like £1 or whatever. It was
Yeah.
ridiculously cheap. But there was nothing in the shops. So I had no clothes. I literally had to go to their equivalent of Debenhams or whatever it was. Hardly anything on the shelves. I think I bought two vests and one pair of shorts and had to live in those for a week because that's all I
I
could get.
love that. That has tickled me. Um, oh, that's amazing. But it does look beautiful. I've always said if I were to win the lottery, there's several things I would do. And one of them would be this super yacht charter around the Med because it just looks phenomenal. I don't even like water and I get seasick. I can swim, but I'm scared. I'm the type of person like if you put me in a swimming pool, I'll happily like toddle around and whatever. Put me in the sea, there's shit that lives in there that I don't want near me. So I don't. It can be as blue as you like. It can be as see through as you like. If there's fish or anything in there, I'm not playing. I'm not interested.
No.
Um, it's not happening at all.
Can I
Um,
just bring it back to rugby again just for a second? Seeing as we've been covering the
absolutely.
URC throughout the season, obviously we've got the final that probably most people would have predicted at the beginning of the year. Really, if we'd fast
Yeah,
forwarded in September to what we thought the final would have been, it probably would have been the Bulls and Leinster, wouldn't it?
yeah.
I'm finding more and more I watch Leinster, the more I absolutely hate them because they're not even fun to watch anymore. They just grind out wins. They've lost that flair that they used to have, and they just grind out the wins. So I'm all
Um,
behind the Bulls.
we've had the
They become
James
a big
Lowe
fan.
drama this week as well, haven't we? With like, where's he leaving? Where's he going? Oh, he's re-signing. Oh no, he's not re-signing. They haven't been able to come to a thing. I think for me, they just show that having a super region doesn't necessarily work
Hmm.
because all right, you get the results and stuff, but if I was a fan of that, I'm not really engaged in it because it's a little bit boring. Um, I did think the scuffle in the tunnel was quite funny.
Yes, it was.
Like, put your fucking handbag stuff like um,
And I have to say,
really
watching the Bulls as well, all I can think of was, God, if only Wales had got hold of Hannicum before the
can you imagine?
Springboks did. I mean, he looks an absolute animal. He was all over the place. He was superb. He's such a specimen.
He's such a good player.
But yeah,
Um, but I think we need to be better around those conversations with
yeah,
players who could be Welsh qualified. We need to give them a better option than
yeah.
elsewhere. And at the minute, we haven't got the ability to offer that. Um, but
Anyway,
sometimes,
that's my rugby chat done now.
yeah,
Anyway, that's what I wanted to
it's
drop
not
that
always
in.
about like money or whatever, everything else. It's about what you can offer them outside of that. And I think that's kind of where our tie in with the uni is great at the Ospreys because we can offer these kids something else. Because I think James Hook was saying about his kids, they're of the age now where they're thinking about college and everything else, and there isn't anywhere in Wales for them to go. They've got
Sure.
no option but to go to Hartbury or wherever
Yeah,
else. So I think that is a massive tick in the box for Ospreys for me, in that you've got that university
yeah.
tie-in. Um, but all in all, very excited for next season. Um, very excited to know games that you come down so we make sure that we have, an outing again because it was so lovely to be on the terrace with you, Rod, even
Yeah.
though I was nearly sick on your shoes because I couldn't handle the pressure towards the end.
And just to say, it was lovely to meet some of the listeners that I don't get to see or
Dave and
I've never met
Nora,
before, putting sort of names to faces. There was Geraint and his lad and Nora and David and a few
yeah,
others that I met down there. So lovely to meet you all finally and hopefully see a lot more of them next season. But oh yeah, all lovely people and obviously very
honest,
passionate about the Ospreys as well. So
yeah, it's me going, can't cope with this, Mark, can't cope with it. And then turning around, putting my head down, Grant. from Osprey's Irie and OSC coached me and was like, I can't look either. I was like, actually, I think I'm going to be sick. I think I'm going to be sick. And I did turn around to you and say, if I was watching this at home, I'd have gone
You're
by
about to
now
leave.
because I
Yeah.
can't take that level of pressure. And then Grant was like, again, talking about how scrum and how good our scrum was. Grant was like, one scrum to rule them all. And I was like, oh my God, Rod is like a Lord of the Rings fan. He was like, you can't use that on the pod, Sam, because I was like, yeah, that's fine. Um, and it was just really, really, really like a lovely day. We can't lose that. We
No.
cannot lose that. We just can't. It's not, you know, it's not, it's unthinkable to lose that. Nobody wants to lose that. Um, but it's been a bit of a disjointed season for us because I think anything that could have happened to any one of us this season
Yeah. This happened at
has
some
kind of
point, yeah.
happened to us. Like
Yeah.
last year, we were so regular with when we were recording and when we were podding. This year, it's like, what shit do you want to throw at us now, guys?
But we're
You know,
still here. We're still standing. We're
you,
still
we're still
going.
standing. We've been a bit sporadic, but we promise to be better next season. Rod has given me the keys to the kingdom in that I'm on Twitter and Instagram now running the pod account.
What a dangerous move that was.
No, he made me promise I'm not going to be mean or argue with anyone.
To
And
be fair,
as
you haven't fallen out with anybody on Twitter so
I've
far.
not done it, I've
No.
not done it. Being on my best behaviour and being really careful when I'm going
Yeah.
between accounts and I'm being nice.
It was seamless. You couldn't tell the difference between you and Rod at all on there.
You
If I
couldn't because I
didn't know
use
what had happened, it'd be
the
interesting actually how many people knew or noticed a change in tone or anything like that
you know
because I
what?
haven't
It's so
noticed anything at all.
funny because someone who I previously had spats with on Twitter who's a dickhead, um, always messages the pod and thinks I'm the one that's running the pod account. And
Yeah.
Rob's like, Sam's not allowed to anywhere near the Sam's a
Until
no.
now.
But, and I'm just like, no one in their right mind would give me the logins. But I'm a responsible person now. I'm nearly 50. You know, I got
Yeah.
a year to go until I'm 50.
We trust you,
So
Sam. We trust
I'm
you.
growing up,
Ish.
sort of. You know, if you look at the amount of toys and shit I've got on my desk, you'd be like, no way. Um, the whimsy continues with the digital printer.
Oh yeah. What have you
Oh
made this
yeah.
week?
Look, I've done loads. Look at my I love Snoopy. Look at my Snoopy.
That's nice.
I just love him. John printed me a dragon. Um, where have I got him? Yeah, I got him.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Zach's got one of those.
I
His
print
friend
him
made them.
one.
Yeah, his
His
friend
name's
made him one of those. They're
Wilbur.
lovely.
I
Nice.
name all my shit. You'd think I was 5, but his name is Wilbur. Um, I got loads of like shit on my desk that just makes me happy. Like randomness I'm
That could
printing.
be a summer episode, Sam. Sam and her
Good.
printer
Fit the
episode.
Sam prints.
Yeah.
But I am not going to do a random this week. I'm going to tell you a random.
Okay.
Know that I keep threatening and I'm going to have a tattoo.
Yeah, go on.
Got a black feather tattoo booked in for the 2nd of July.
No way. We're supposed to have those together.
You two are wimps. I can't be waiting for you.
This must be a
Um,
100th episode special.
well,
Me
this is the
crying
sixth.
like a baby while I have my tattoo done.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I just pulled the trigger and booked it.
Oh
I,
man.
I said I wanted to do various things before 50. Well, that's one
Yeah,
of them.
true. That's one of them then, yeah. Maybe you can
Get
have all three then for us.
could do. I think I'm going for it on the ribs as well, which is rather painful.
Ooh, sounds it.
Be okay. You know,
Brilliant.
Dr. Pepper's was the worst that can happen. Fell asleep while I was having my feet done. Um, But that is us signing off for another season. Will there be season 3 of the podcast? Yes, there will. There will.
Absolutely. If you're very unlucky, we'll be back
We'll be
in the
back.
summer before that as well.
Um, yeah, we need to organise some. Like we've obviously got the Fiji game. Argentina, um, Argentina, um, and South Africa. Um,
And Japan,
I've
is it? Or is it Japan in the autumn? We got four.
uh, uh,
Oh no, we got three. Argentina, South
got
Africa,
3.
Fiji. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
And Japan's in the autumn. Yeah,
Um,
sorry, jumping ahead.
so we'll have to organise some time around those to have a little chat. I've um now I'm decorating the house and I've got a big new sofa. I can have more people over to watch rugby again. So I've said to Rod I might do a South African braai for the South
Nice.
African game. Um, which, if you want to come down for, you're more than welcome to come down for. Get John
Very,
to show some brisket on the barbecue, possibly a couple of shrimps,
very nice.
you know. And yeah, but this is us signing off season 2 of the Black Feather.
Because Rod's not here, should we do the sign off together?
Right, should we do the like,
The
comment, and
proper.
subscribe?
Oh no, you can do that bit. I'm thinking about
There,
the Cymraeg
like,
bit at the end. Yeah.
comment, subscribe, follow us on socials. Don't follow us on socials if you're not expecting bad language or if you want to insult me. I'm not interested in that. But good luck to our departing Ospreys. Good luck to our new Ospreys coming in. And all that we have to say after 1, 2, 3, I'm lying
I'm
and
lying to
gwai.
growth. Oh.